So let me remind you of some important laws of multiplication. They come in very handy when we want to do some calculations. So let's start out very easy. So let's first talk about law, which is the commutative law, which is one of the first laws you learned, which is that you have to understand. So what you want to understand is that 2 times 3, so two threes are the same as three twos. So why is that true? Well, this is called the commutative law. So it's called the commutative law, but let's think about why is this true. So let's make two threes. So here's one three. So I'm thinking vertically, and here's another three. So there are two threes here, right? So this is the left hand side. So now you can see that these are two threes. But I can clearly also count them in a different way as one, two, two twos, and three twos. So this is called the commutative law. So this law, well, maybe I should say, um, this law is called the commutative law of multiplication, commutative law. And what that means is for any two numbers, a multiplied by b is equal to b multiplied by a. So if you have a really large number, let's say you have a number like 2179 multiplied by 432, I don't know what the answer is, but I know it's equal to 432 multiplied by 2179. So I know it. So this is true because of the commutative law, and the commutative law you can prove in general by using this simple picture. Okay, so this is the commutative law. The next law that I want to talk about is the distributive law. So let's write out the distributive law. So let's think about a number like maybe 2 multiplied by uh, let's do not 2 multiplied by, let's do 4 multiplied by 2 plus 3. Okay, so 4 multiplied by 2 plus 3, what that the distributive law says, this is equal to 4 multiplied by 2 plus 4 multiplied by 3. So how do we understand this law? So here's a picture that should hopefully clarify these things. So let's say I have four tables. There are four tables: 1, 2, 3, 4. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put two green apples on each table, and I'm going to put three red apples on each table. Okay, so now I have two green apples and three red apples on each table. So I want to count the total number of apples. Well, there are two ways to count it. One way is that I first count the number of apples. So remember, these parentheses, sorry, I should have clarified, these are parentheses. So these are again parentheses, and by parentheses what I mean is that do this operation first. So what that means is first calculate 2 plus 3 to be 5. Okay, that's the first thing that you do, and then you multiply 4 by 5 to get 20. So now note 2 plus 3 5 means I'm looking at each table and I'm counting the number of apples on each table. So there are 5 apples on each table, and there are 4 tables, so that's 4 fives, and the answer is 20. That's one way to count it. A different way of counting it is that I can first count the green apples. So if I count the green apples, these are 4 twos. Why is these 4 twos? Because this is 1 2, 2 twos, 3 twos, and 4 twos. And then I can add the red apples into it. This is 1 3, 2 threes, 3 threes, and 4 threes. Clearly, this way of counting, either you can add the apples, the green and the red apples, and then look at all the tables, or count the green apples and then the red apples. The answer has to be the same. So this is called the distributive law, and it takes two flavors. Because of the commutative law, I can write it in two different ways. So I can write it as 4 times 2 plus 3, or I can also write the distributive law. Because of the commutative law, I can also write it as 2 plus 3 into 4 is equal to 2 times 4 plus 3 times 4. We know we can change the order of multiplication, or you can come up with a new story. So they are both true. So this is called the distributive law. So this is called the, so let me write the, so this is called the distributive law. So I'll use a different color. This is called the distributive law, and it actually combines distributive. So distributive law, and what this says is two things. You can either write it as A multiplied by B plus C is equal to A multiplied by B plus A multiplied by C, and so this plus is what is this plus, right? Okay, and or you can write it in a different way, which is you can say B plus C multiplied by A is equal to B multiplied by A plus C multiplied by A. They're both the same law, and this plus is the plus right over here. Okay, so this is called the distributive law. Now, the next law that I want to talk about is the associative law. So let's look at the associative law. So let me first write down the associative law. So let's look at a simple example. So this is 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 4 is equal to 2 multiplied by 3 times 4. Okay, so let's come up with a story to explain why this has to be true. Note, I'm not going to actually calculate these numbers. This always has to be true. So let's come up with a story. Let's say I have two tables. So again, I'll have two tables. So let me make two tables. Okay, so this is table number 1, and this is, let me make a table slightly higher. So here's table 1, here's table 2. Okay, there are two tables, and each table contains 3 baskets. So let's make 3 baskets. So this is table 1 with 3 baskets. Oops, my baskets are very large. So this is table 1, and this is table 2 with 3 baskets. Okay, so there are 3 baskets here. And now let's put 4 apples in each of these baskets. So I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've put 4 apples in each one of these baskets. So now there are 2 ways of counting the number of apples. One way is, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm first going to count the number of baskets. So this 2 3s are the number of baskets, right? Because there are 3 baskets on table 1 and 3 baskets on table 2. So there are 2 3s, which are 6 baskets in all. And each basket contains 4 apples. So then the result would be 6 4s. The 4s exist because there are 4 apples in each basket, and 6 because of the 2 3s, there are 6 baskets in all. So that's one way of counting. A different way of counting is that I'm first going to count table number 1. So if I just count table number 1, so if I look at table number 1, so this is table 1. So table 1 has 3 4s. The 3 represents the baskets and 4 represents the apples. So there are 3 4s on table 1. And now I have another 3 4s on table 2. So there are 2 3 4s, and clearly that this answer has to be the same because of the fact that apples don't disappear or appear. So what that means in general is that I'll write down this. So this is the associative law of multiplication. So it's called the associative law of multiplication. And the associative law of multiplication very simply states that A multiplied by B multiplied by C is equal to A multiplied by B times C. So if you see a very weird number like 217 multiplied by 43 multiplied by 29, well, you know, without calculating, you know the answer is 217 multiplied by 43 multiplied by 29, and that's true because of the associative law. So now you can wonder, why do you care about all of these laws? You'll actually find that when we start doing multiplication by 2-digit numbers and other kinds of multiplications, these 3 laws, the associative law, the distributive law, and the commutative law, all turn out to be very important, and they help you compute things when you're doing multiplication.